Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The citadel of Accord drifted in silence above a dying star, its vast rings turning slowly, patiently, like a god that had learned to wait. Energy fields shimmered across its surface, holding atmosphere, gravity, and politics together through sheer technological stubbornness. For most species, the citadel was sacred ground. For humans, it was just another room where one wrong word could end everything. Ethan Cole stood at the edge of the ceremonial hall, hands clasped behind his back, breathing evenly. He wore a plain black diplomatic uniform, no medals, no armor, no weapons. That alone unsettled the aliens watching him. Humans never came unarmed unless they were very confident or very dangerous. The hall itself was massive. Delegates from over 40 species sat at a circular table made from living crystal, its surface shifting colors based on the emotional balance of the room. Right now, it glowed a nervous amber: suspicion, fear, calculation. At the head of the table sat High Chancellor Valera, ruler of the Ishan Concordance. She appeared calm, elegant, her long silver eyes unreadable. Her species valued restraint above all else. Emotion was considered a weakness, which was why she watched the humans so closely. Ethan Cole had been quiet since arriving, too quiet. No nervous movements, no unnecessary speech, just calm awareness like a predator pretending to be harmless. The summit had one purpose: decide whether humanity would be fully admitted into the Galactic Union or permanently restricted. Most species believed humans were a mistake. The war proved that. Humans had survived an extinction-level invasion launched by a coalition that outmatched them in ships, technology, and numbers. By all logic, Earth should have fallen in weeks. Instead, humanity adapted. They lost cities, lost billions, and then they learned. They modified tactics mid-battle, rewired machines meant to kill them, used wreckage as weapons, turned desperation into doctrine. The galaxy had been watching ever since. Now the ceremonial meal had begun. Tradition demanded it. Trust was shown by shared food. Floating attendants delivered dishes suited to each species, adjusting temperature, gravity, and molecular structure in real time. The air smelled different around every seat. Ethan's plate held something simple by Citadel standards: nutrient-dense protein shaped like grain, safe, neutral. The High Chancellor lifted her cup. The room fell silent. To stability, Valera said calmly, and to continued existence. The delegates echoed the words in dozens of languages. Then she drank. She did not even finish swallowing. Valera stiffened. Her eyes widened just slightly. One hand tightened around the armrest of her throne. The living crystal beneath her flashed deep red. Then she collapsed. Chaos did not explode immediately. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Shock froze the room. The idea that the High Chancellor, protected by layers of security older than most stars, could fall at a dinner table was impossible. Then alarms screamed. Energy shields snapped into place. The hall sealed itself. Security drones dropped from the ceiling. Medical constructs rushed forward. A voice rang out, sharp with horror. Poison! Scanners flared. Data streamed. The result was immediate and terrifying. Royal-grade biotoxin confirmed. Designed specifically for Ishan biology. Lethal within seconds. Valera's attendants backed away in fear. Even approaching her was dangerous. The poison was airborne reactive, capable of secondary contamination. The council erupted in panic. Accusations flew. Humans. Security breach. This was planned. Ethan did not shout. He moved. Before anyone realized what he was doing, he stepped forward, calm, focused, his eyes locked on the fallen chancellor. Without asking permission, without waiting for scans, without hesitation, he reached down, lifted her cup, and drank what remained inside. The hall erupted in screams. "No! Stop him! Is he insane?" Ethan swallowed. The taste was sharp, metallic, burning. He exhaled slowly. "Well," he said quietly, "that's unpleasant." Then the pain hit. It felt like his chest collapsed inward, like gravity had suddenly decided to crush him personally. His vision blurred, his knees buckled. He collapsed beside the chancellor. Medical alarms went wild. Human life signs spiked, then destabilized. Alien medics hesitated, confused. This toxin should kill him instantly. It is not designed for his species. It is destroying him anyway. Queen Valera's consciousness flickered. She barely saw him fall. But she felt it. Darkness pulled Ethan under, but not cleanly. Pain dragged him back again and again. His heart raced, slowed, stumbled, then pushed forward stubbornly, refusing to stop. He heard voices. So many voices. His immune system is attacking everything. No, it's adapting. That is impossible. Cold spread through his veins, then heat, then something else, pressure, like his body was arguing with reality. When he surfaced again, light stabbed into his eyes. He lay on a medical platform that hummed beneath him, shifting shape to support organs that could not decide what they were doing. Tubes and energy lines covered his body. The room was filled with beings from half a dozen species, healers, scientists, political observers pretending not to care. And standing closest to him, Queen Valera. Her composure was cracked. Not broken, but strained. "You consumed poisoned royal substance," she said quietly. "Why?" Ethan's lips twitched weakly. Seemed rude not to. She stared at him, stunned. "You should be dead." "Still negotiating," he croaked. A healer stepped forward, their translucent form rippling with agitation. "The toxin binds to neural structures unique to my queen's species. It should have no resistance." Ethan whispered, "We get that a lot." The healer ignored him. "His organs are redundant. His systems overlap. Damage in one area is being compensated elsewhere." Another voice added, unsettled, "Pain response is accelerating adaptation." Valera clenched her hands. "Save him." That single command shattered centuries of protocol. Forbidden technologies activated. Medical techniques outlawed for ethical reasons were authorized instantly. Across the galaxy, emergency signals flared. Ethan drifted in and out. At one point, he became aware of a debate above his chest. This organ should have failed. It did, another took over. That should not happen. Humans evolved under constant threat, a human doctor said sharply. Their bodies expect damage. The toxin surged again. Ethan gasped. Valera moved without thinking and grabbed his hand. "Stay," she said, not as a ruler but as someone afraid. He squeezed weakly. "Not going anywhere." He murmured, "Food tried, didn't like it." Against her will, a sound escaped her, almost a laugh, almost a sob. Hours passed, or days, time lost meaning. Finally, the alarm softened. The toxin slowed, then stopped spreading. A healer stared at the readings in disbelief. "The poison is being neutralized." "How?" another demanded. The healer looked at Ethan. "It is being out-adapted." Silence filled the chamber. Valera straightened slowly. The galaxy had just learned something dangerous. Humans were not immune. They were worse. They endured. And somewhere deep inside the citadel, as Ethan Cole slept, still alive, the balance of power began to shift. Ethan Cole woke slowly, his body still humming with energy he could not understand. The medical platform beneath him adjusted automatically, holding him upright as if gravity itself was negotiating with his organs. His mind cleared in fits, each thought a battle between exhaustion and instinct. He was alive, still alive, somehow impossibly, gloriously alive. Valera was there again, seated beside him, her silver eyes sharper than any scanner. She did not speak at first, only watched, and for a moment Ethan considered that her observation might be more dangerous than the poison had been. There was weight in her silence, authority sharpened by fear, responsibility, and something unspoken. "You are conscious again," she said at last, voice calm but taut with tension. "Your systems appear stable, though unstable by any logical metric. You survived because you adapted faster than the toxins could respond." Ethan blinked, trying to process the words. "I adapted faster than poison. That sounds heroic or stupid, one of the two." Valera's lips twitched, almost a smile, but her composure returned instantly. "Heroism is irrelevant. You disrupted centuries of protocol and nearly destabilized interstellar relations. That does not escape notice." Ethan glanced around. The room was quieter than it had been during the crisis. Machines hummed softly, energy lines pulsed in patterned rhythms, and alien healers hovered, analyzing, debating silently in ways Ethan could not translate. His body no longer ached with acute pain, but the subtle fatigue of survival lingered, a reminder that he had been pushed to the edge. And he had stayed there. "Do humans often risk everything for politeness?" Valera asked, her tone impossible to read. Ethan chuckled weakly. "Depends on how you define politeness. Some humans die because it's faster than waiting for bureaucracy. Others survive because stubbornness beats everything." Valera's eyes flicked to him sharply. "Stubbornness indeed. You are dangerous." "I try to be," Ethan said, and despite the faint tremor in his voice, he managed a small grin. The Queen rose, packing slowly now, her hands folded in front of her. Each movement was precise, deliberate, as if she measured her steps against centuries of custom. Yet her posture betrayed the strain she had endured. Valera had never appeared human, and yet in those few moments, Ethan realized that the weight of responsibility could make even immortality feel fragile. Outside the room, corridors echoed with the distant hum of alerted councils. Delegates from dozens of species were already arguing about what had occurred, assigning blame or quietly praising Ethan in ways that would never reach him directly. He had become both a hero and an anomaly, a variable the galaxy had not accounted for. "You have made your position unavoidable," Valera said finally, turning to him. Her eyes softened fractionally, just enough for Ethan to see the faint trace of relief. "Not by strategy, not by request, by action. You forced me to reveal vulnerabilities I have hidden for decades." "I apologize for that," Ethan said, his voice quieter now. "Though I should probably thank you for keeping me alive afterward." Valera's expression did not change, though a flicker of something almost like warmth passed across her features. "Acknowledgement is unnecessary. Survival is mandatory." Ethan exhaled. "Good to know makes negotiation easier." Valera ignored the humor. "You must understand something. Your species is unpredictable. Your biology is unique. And yet it is effective, perhaps too effective." Ethan's lips quirked. "Effective in chaos, that's us." The Queen allowed a brief pause. "Your continued existence will have consequences. Protocols must be rewritten. Councils must be appeased. Security measures upgraded. Your species' reputation is complicated." "I can live with that," Ethan said. "I've lived with worse reputations before breakfast." Valera tilted her head, studying him as if deciding whether to believe him. "And yet," she said, "you may be the reason we survive the next galactic crisis. You acted without orders, without calculation, and yet you saved more than a life tonight." Ethan swallowed. The gravity of the statement pressed against him, not the gravitational field of the citadel, but the weight of responsibility. He had stepped forward, ignored rules, risked himself entirely, not because he was brave, not because he was tactical, because it was right. That was human instinct, raw and unrefined, yet incomparably powerful. "Will there be consequences for me?" he asked finally, voice steady despite lingering exhaustion. Valera considered him, her gaze steady. "Consequences are inevitable. Some will call you a destabilizing element. Others will hail you as a hero. You have shifted the balance of authority in this citadel, and the galaxy has noted it." "Does that make me important?" Ethan asked. "Yes," she said simply, "and dangerous." A brief silence followed, filled only by the gentle hum of machines and the occasional flicker of energy across the platform beneath him. Ethan studied her, noting the subtle tension in her shoulders, the faint shadows beneath her eyes, the way her long silver hair caught the light in patterns almost deliberate. She was a ruler of worlds, yet fragile in a way that no machine could measure. "I survived," he said finally, his voice soft, "because you wanted me to." Valera's expression shifted ever so slightly. She did not answer immediately. Then, in the quietest possible tone, she said, "Do not mistake necessity for preference." "I wouldn't dream of it," Ethan replied, his tone light, but beneath it lay a deeper truth. He had recognized in her a kind of loyalty, a bond that transcended politics and protocol. One human instinct recognized another: guardianship, survival. Hours later, or perhaps it was days, Ethan was able to rise from the platform. The process was slow, careful, aided by the subtle manipulations of the Citadel's healing systems. Valera did not assist him directly, yet she remained close, a steady presence beside him as he navigated the strange, weightless architecture of the medical hall. Every step, every slight shift of his center of gravity reminded him that survival was a negotiation, a dialogue with both body and universe. "Walk," Valera instructed finally, her voice firm. "You must test the limits of what is left." "I've never been more eager to argue with gravity," Ethan said, taking his first careful steps. His legs trembled, his body protested, but he kept moving. Each step was a victory, each wobble a negotiation with reality. Valera's eyes followed him, unwavering. Judgment, assessment, a quiet vigilance. It was more intimate than any council chamber, more immediate than any battlefield. When he finally reached the wide viewport that overlooked the planetary rings below, Ethan paused. Ships moved in disciplined patterns, a dance of diplomacy and defense. The galaxy had not stopped. It would not stop for him. And yet, he had survived. He had acted where others would have hesitated. He had proven that human unpredictability could bend even the most rigid rules of the galaxy. Valera joined him silently. Together, they watched the movement of fleets and the shimmer of distant stars. The citadel pulsed beneath them, alive, observing, aware. "You understand now," she said softly, "why your species is both feared and respected." "I think I'm beginning to," Ethan said, "but I've also learned why patience is overrated." Valera allowed a faint smile. "You are difficult." "I am human," he said, simple, undeniable. The silence that followed was comfortable, not fragile, filled with a mutual recognition. The galaxy had shifted, and neither would be the same again. Weeks passed, and the aftermath of the poisoning incident unfolded across multiple systems. Political councils were appeased, protocols rewritten, security measures upgraded. Humans were declared unpredictable but effective, their diplomacy officially recognized as hazardous yet invaluable. Ethan's survival had rewritten assumptions, not just about humanity, but about what it meant to act, to choose, to intervene when the impossible presented itself. And then came the official communication from the Citadel. Ethan was offered a permanent position, a liaison between Earth and the Ishan Concordance, a human voice and presence within the highest echelons of interstellar politics. Responsibility, authority, danger, everything he had inadvertently sought. He accepted quietly, without ceremony. Valera observed him during the announcement, her expression carefully controlled, yet softer than it had ever been. There was approval in her gaze, acknowledgement that his survival had proven something greater, humanity's ability to endure, to adapt, to act without hesitation in the face of certain death. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked one evening as they walked through the central corridors of the Citadel, empty now but for the quiet hum of machinery. Choosing to act, to step forward. Ethan considered it. The weight of countless lives, the threat of interstellar war, the immediacy of death. Yet here he was, alive, standing beside her. "No," he said finally. "I may have been reckless, but I chose action. I've always preferred it over hesitation." Valera's long silver eyes softened. "Then I will guard you, human, not because it is required, but because it matters that you live." Ethan smiled faintly. "I appreciate that, and I'll do my best to survive, for all the right reasons this time." They stopped beside the same viewport that had watched fleets move in disciplined patterns. Stars glimmered, planets rotated, ships sailed in their prescribed orbits. The galaxy moved on, indifferent, relentless. But inside the Citadel, two beings, human and Ishan, stood side by side, aware that they had changed it. One impulsive act had reshaped alliances, protocols, and assumptions. One human had refused to die. One queen had learned that even centuries of caution could not outmatch courage. Ethan reached out and Valera allowed him to take her hand. A gesture that violated etiquette, defied expectation, yet felt inevitable. No words were necessary. Survival, action, understanding. It was all contained in that single connection. The Citadel hummed, alive and watching, and for the first time Ethan Cole felt certainty. The galaxy could continue to bend and twist, stars could die, fleets could fall, treaties could shatter. But humanity would endure. And so would he.